So I did have two. Did I put them other pieces? Yes, I did. I can't recall. Where did I put? Hello guys, thanks for turning up, and yeah, I'm continuing. My belt's turned up today. Managed to get a new belt for the radio. I've just, while I was just watching Andy's stream, they've just sent me a little thank you note of they offer repair services. That it's called That's Audio. I ordered the belt for this because this was working, then it decided to stop. How you doing, buddy? Hey. Oh, yeah, I got the belt that's turned up. Pico. Did get the belt for it. I've just put the belt on while I was watching Andy's stream, and yeah, it was really tricky to put that belt on. I had to take all that mechanism apart. I thought, while I'm watching Andy's stream, I'm gonna sort of jump on quickly, put the belt on. I've just plugged it back in to try. Again, it's still got that power related issue because it's not coming from the transformer. It sort of comes on for a split second, and if I show you, now the belt's on, it's got all of the belts on this now. So obviously, look, this is what happens when it comes on. So if I switch it on, make sure, right, it comes on for a split second, then goes straight off. So watch the green in that top. It's supposed to stay on, then goes off. Turn it off, turn it on, goes off. That is because it's not getting the 20 volts it needs to feed the record player to power up. So again, looks like a transformer issue. Do you know what? I'm still touching. I'm still getting this black ink, and I've just seen right in the corner there's a big blob of it, and I mean, the last couple of days I've managed to get it all off because of the way that belt just goes to, like, it disintegrates, goes like, you know, it's horrible stuff. So what I've managed to do, once now I've put the belt on, I'm going to put it back together. I'm going to send this off to an old boy that deals with my electricals, if it's that. But I mean, he normally charged me a small fee, which is about £20, not a lot. I just want to confirm that if that power supply has gone faulty with the, again, being a sharp radio on this, and it's always seems sharp for some reason. Everything that's remained, again, it's the way they do it. Transformer first, fuse after. It was just like on the other radio. I'm just hoping that that transformer has not gone, half of it's gone bad, because again, part of it works, the other half, I'm not getting no voltage coming out of it. It's millivolts. So if that's the case, that won't be enough voltage. It powers up, obviously, the cassette. There's 15 volts getting to the cassette. Well, the cassette anywhere ranging from 9 volts onwards. But the radio's not working because it's not driven by, there's a big related power chip on this, which is an amplifier. Obviously it needs the 20 volts to power the amplifier up to get the radio and the record player working. Well, I can't do that if there's no voltage coming out of it. And it looks like that's the case because I've already probed it, and I've already done that on a live stream. It was working, now it's stopped because this thing's probably not been powered on for so many years, which is a shame because, like you said, I want to use this now. I actually want to get this one up and running. That's why I bought it. The hospice did not dispose. The hospice didn't give me this. I bought this out of my own money. So this is why I want to put it back together, send it to him, see what he says, and if he says, yeah, you confirm you is right, he might be able to suggest to me there's a workaround, which if that is the case, I'll let him do the workaround because he's quite good at that. It's not a selector switch. No, there's no selector switch on this. It just comes directly at 240 straight in. There's no 110 on that. It's not like the other Sharp radio. It had a selector switch between 110 and 240. This is just literally got 240 going straight into the transformer. And when I probed the outputs, I've only got millivolts coming out. That's obviously that's not helping the case because you can't use the millivolts is obviously not going to help the situation on that front. So yeah, and to top that, me bloody Fantech one of that I bought from TikTok decided to stop working for some reason. It flashes on, then flashes straight off. So this decided, lucky enough, they'd give me a refund. I've got to look at that at some point. But what I want to do is put this together. And today, because I've been doing the last 14 episodes on that. No, I mean, there is a selector switch between the tape recordings and the radio. Oh, right. Well, it's just a button. Basically, it's up here. You just select it, what one you want. But no, it makes no difference. I can't even get... When I got this, when I had to go and pick this up from all the way past Hertfordshire, he said that it was his dad's, before his dad passed away, and he said it just needs belts. He said he could hear the motor humming, but he said, I don't know how to take these apart. He said it's beyond my means. And he's correct. No one I've done a live stream on this, and there was no one that did tamper with it, so it was all 100% original. I did hear the radio power up, bit crackly, but I now fixed the crackling with some contact cleaner, with some WD contact cleaner. So I used a fast drying contact cleaner because it got told don't use IPA, not on carbon based bits, he said, because it can cause problems. So I used proper contact cleaner for switching, which I did. That's not the issue. That solved the issue. Now it was crackling. That crackling stopped. I'm just getting a hum now when I plug it in because there's not enough voltage going into the board to power this and the amplifier for the radio. I've got power to the cassette, but no audio is coming out because it's not getting enough power to it probably needs 20 volts going straight in. There's a big audio chip on this, power audio chip with it's got the word amplifier, power amplifier. That goes directly in power source from, looks like it comes out of the board straight into that, then into the secondary. So it looks like that's what gives you obviously the power it needs for the sound. And I ain't got no sound, it's now just got a slight hum, obviously not enough power from it. But I replaced all the belts in there. I'm lucky enough I had some belts that fitted it. I didn't have the belt for the direct drive, for the linear turntable, because it was a massive belt. Got the correct one. Only cost me £9 for the belt. Actually, it was actually quite good. Put the belt on. I've done that while I was watching Andy's stream because I had to take half of it apart to put the belt on. Managed to put the belt on. Plugged all the plugs in because it's only got 3 plugs at the bottom, which is right down and underneath here, which it probably won't stretch all the way over. There's 3 plugs here. So I unplugged these, one there, one there, and one there. Unplugged them. That's all it is. So there's no other plugs. Plugged all them back in, just tried it, and again, before I even done that, it was doing the same thing because there's millivolts coming out of the transformer. I'm just hoping, if that's the case, I'll have to go down the same route because again, you cannot buy transformers on these, just like everything else. It's just like everything. It's an absolute nightmare to work with because it, like I said, it works for a split second, then goes off. But before I'd done that and I first time plugged it in, this stayed on and the radio worked. Obviously it was getting power. I checked all the fuses, it's got about 7 fuses, fast blowing fuses, absolutely fine. And again, exactly the same, similar issue to the other radio, power related, again, coming from the transformer. The other transformer only had millivolts coming out. That's obviously not enough to run that. So I just want to confirm it. I don't think it's capacitor or any other related, because it was working previous, and all I'd done was unplugged the record player itself. Just unplugged it, took it out, put the new belts in, because it would still work without the record, because all it does, it just powers the thing on it, and then it decided to stop, partly work and not fully work. So straight away, you know, the amplifier decided to think, no, I'm not having it. You know, now it's the 2 red wires that's coming directly out of the transformer. It's just got millivolts. Obviously, that side is the little voltage it's got. It's probably not enough on that, which is bloody frustrating on that. So yeah, this is the reasons why I'm going to put this all back on this front. Stand all this back, put all this back on there, because now I've got all the brand new belts on. If the old boy does give me, he might be able to sort something out and source it, because I do want this again to find one of these working. There's a few of these, but there's a lot of them not working. But the ones that are working, between £300 and £500. They've had all new belts instead of full service. But this being in very good condition, I might be able to get the small scratches out with my polisher, like, because I've got some plasticized polish for plastics. So basically, it'll buff all them out. So my little polisher should be able to get them out. But I've got to put these screws back, and I forgot where I took them. These ones obviously are for the top cover for it to go down, because I can see the holes all the way in. But looking at this is absolutely, yeah, see, they won't be them. And I don't know where I took these out, because this bloody thing, it weighs a ton. It's extremely, it's well made, well made. But I've got 2 screws going in, which, tell you what, let me put them in first, because again, this is not the easiest to move and transport around. The weight of this, I think I weighed it. It was just over, I think it was over 10 kilos. It was actually quite bloody, it was really weighty. So I'm trying to get the screws to stop this from falling forward. So that's going to be, oh, where's my screwdriver? But at least the belt's on. I've put the belt on. But they do offer, that's audio. They look like, this is the company I went with. I've got it off there. They look like they repair, they do repair service and stuff. Turntables, record players, CD players, hi-fis, guitar amplifiers, what's that? Rebasing and adjustments, guitar pedals, PA systems and speaker replacements. So if you guys ever want to get in contact, I can put a link in Discord that if you have got any issues or something, these people seem to be, and they're really nice, and they're really reasonably priced. It's called an infinity belt for the Sharp, and it says it on there. You can't, I don't know if you can see that, but it says for the Sharp turntables, drive belt, and that's exactly what it is. And that's how many you sold, 20 of them. So unbelievable, but yeah, really surprised. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to try and do it from under the table, because if I tip this up, it keeps wanting to move, and I'm going to damage it and rip a bleeding trace out or something, because again, not the easiest to try and do on these, which is a shame. But no, there's no switch. I can quickly show you before I put this back together. Look, let me show you, because it's not connected. It's only connected to the wires, and I've got enough wire there. But let me guys show you, and I'll show you exactly. There's no switching service in here. So let me go and grab me torch, and then I can show you guys in a bit more detail. So the issue that all I've done, right? All I've basically done on here, which is looking at the circuitry, right, you obviously got this massive stereo amplifier speaker, right, at the point here. So obviously this needs 20 volts. 15's not enough to come from here. Now the wires that's coming in here, this is obviously the size of this transformer. Now when I've done the thing on it, basically they're saying these are bulletproof. These very rarely go down, but they didn't rule it out. They said they can develop issues where you could potentially will not get no voltage. Well, that's not entirely true. I've got 15 volts going in from the white to the yellow. I've got nothing coming out of the red. It's completely millivolts. Have you checked the fuses? Every single fuse that I've tried in here, right, is basically on these ones. It's got 7 fuses in total. So we've got 4, 5, 6. So it's 4, 5, 6, and then there was one going over to the corner. I checked it, but it's not getting no voltage from this transformer. Again, the way you look at the wire, right, obviously we've got a wire going in. This is obviously your input where the wire's going in. This will be your out. And again, the same fate happened time and time again with these bloody sharp radios. You know, the voltage coming out, I'm only getting 15 volts. And I'll prove it, I'm not lying. And I'll make sure that it's properly documented. But again, same issue. And it's such a shame because it was working fine. So let me zero it, right? I'll zero the counter. Good. I'm going to plug it in. It's only sitting on plastic, so it ain't going to cause any issues. Right. Switch the power on, which is on, right? So I'm going to probe the black to the black. And this is what makes me think 100% this is at fault, right? Because again, that's stuck right in. Watch. Right, now you guys can clearly see white, I'm getting 15.16, right? On the front of the voltage. I'll probe the yellow next to it, 15.21. The next yellow, 15.22. Now watch the red. Nothing coming out of the red. Millivolts. I'm not even getting no voltage. Zero. It's not even. It's barely getting hardly anything. So if I take it out, it obviously is giving me some reading, but not hardly any reading. I'm getting 0.21 of a millivolt. That's not enough. That's supposed to be 20 volts coming out of that to power that chip up. So obviously that's why this surge of power comes in. Now look, I'll leave that on. Watch what happens when I turn it off. Right, that is off. Right, you should go to 0, which it does. Right, watch when I turn it on. It'll spike. Do you see it spike then drop? This is why I think at the end of the day, and it didn't spike up to much. I'll do it again. Let it go. Let it drain from the capacitor. And turn it on. It spiked all the way up to about 38, 39, but 0.039. So that's still not enough, and this is what makes me think that this transformer has decided to go bye-bye, and I want to confirm that. Switch the leads round. What, of the transformer ones? Yeah, I can do that. It's not a problem because it makes no difference which way you put these round. It ain't going to blow at the end of the day. Again, switch it off. It'll just go negative. That's the case. Yeah. 3.00.3. There's no way that's going to be nowhere enough. And it's on voltage. And I'll do the same again. Put the red on the negative. And then I'll probe the top of it. And it just comes up minus. But if I turn that off, let that cool all the way down, obviously that's in minus. Right, let it drain, and then it'll show you. Turn it on, spiked all the way up to 25 volts. Did you see that for a minute ago? It went up to 25 volts. This is what makes me think the fault this transformer's gone. And this is what I was saying about, again, about 25 volts. That spiked then to 25 and then it went down to 15. the fuses are doing its job. Unless, I mean, unless, see, the idea, this is what I don't quite understand. See, it spiked in all the way to 24 and then went down to 15. And this is what makes me think that because if the voltage obviously is coming out, right, at the end of it, and even with, look, and I'll prove it, look, if I unplug this, I'm going to have to be really careful here. Let me probe, right, let me probe this, not connected. This should output between 15 or 18, or at least the maximum is about 24 volts. That's what it should do. Is your multimeter on DC or AC? It's actually on voltage, so I suppose that's DC at the end of the day, is it? These multimeters, I don't know, understand this one. This one's just, it's got auto range. It just does it automatically. But let me probe. It's not connected, and I'm not going to touch this, right? You won't get a bad bang off it anyway. You won't get a bad jolt because, again, 24 volts, depending on the ampage. Probe it. It's turned off. I'm going to probe this, right? And then that was coming up at 15 volts. Let me probe and switch this on and see what it comes up. And it, again, it won't. There's obviously no voltage going into this because, again, it needs power going in that pulls it from the circuitry, and I'm not getting nothing, literally nothing, not even in the red. So it won't pull nothing even from that. Press the button when the AC is on. Yeah. So again, this issue, this obviously needs to pull. The way I don't know how amplifier, I don't know how transformers actually work. The blue button. The blue button, oh, right, the blue button, voltage, AC, right, there you go. So look, I'll put the blue button on, I'll put it back into play, switch it back on. Yeah, you're right, that's AC. And we are getting, in AC voltage, his spike is going all the way down. Still dropping. This is on the white. Still dropping. And the red on the red. Right, and the red. Good idea. It's poked all the way in. The red on the red. So I'll put the red on the red, and it measures the red. I've literally got, I think it's got no reading from it. I'll switch it on. Let me switch it on. It would help if I bloody switched it on. Now it's saying on there, AC is pulling, right? That's red on red, no red on black. There's two the reds, so it's one black on the red and the red on the red, right? Switched it on and it's measuring 0.46.8 volt. So is that indicating then that the transformer is doing its job? Because obviously there must be a circuitry issue, because like you said, if there was a fault, why didn't it trip that fuse? That fuse is, again, a 1 amp. That's yeah, it says 46.7. That's exactly what it's reading. That's the two reds, but that's 0. So it's 0.46 of a volt. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm more confused. But if I put it back on the one probe on the black, the earth, and then probe these individually in AC mode, it will stay down. Yeah, it looks like it's stabilising at 0.101 volts. The transformer is fine. So then, if that's the case, because they did say these are bulletproof transformers. Now, in the other one, I didn't get no reading at the transformer at all. So if that's the, I have to be careful because that's live. But if that is the case, then why didn't it trip that fuse? I mean, these are timed fuses at 1000 milliamps at the end of the day. So there's a 1 amp fuse in these, because I took them apart, put them under, and then I had a look. So if that's the case, that would that have took out a capacitor? Would that have took out? There's I can see at least 2, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 diodes running in parallel on this one section bit alone, and you can actually see it. So let me put that on there. Turn that off. Look, you can actually see all the diodes. Yeah, it didn't trip the fuse on the other sharp. No, it didn't trip it, but it just killed it. Where they put the 240 straight in the 110, it killed it dead instantly. And there was no voltage on that. But this don't have none of that. It's not got none of that sort of where you can switch it. It's just directly 240 straight in. And looking at the size of that, you know, the transformer, you can see why there's no switches at the back of it. But test the diodes. Do you know what? This is what I'm saying. That now I've put the belt back in and the belt's all done. This is what makes me think that. Now, can you test diodes why it's switched on in circuit? Because I thought diodes only go, because diodes, as what I understand, the diodes are directional. It's only one way. It shouldn't go backwards at the end of it. And again, the resistance on a diode, obviously these are numbered. These look like 10E, right? Are these ones different? I don't want to put my hands in it and light up like a Christmas tree. Now, it's got D, obviously they've got, that's the word diode. Some of these said, that looks like 457, and these ones are 456. So you've got 450, you've got 452, no, is that 452? Let me double check, I'm reading it upside down, that don't bloody help. Let me have a read. So no, these are obviously 450, 454, 452, 458, 456. I suppose that would be a reading, wouldn't it? You know, at the end of the day, I suppose that's what the 4 is. So it should give you that reading. It depends on what circuit. I think it would be fine in measuring in circuit. It would be fine to measure them in circuit. Yeah. So again, diode test, right? So I'll put this in diode test. Let's put it in diode test. I think that's diode test, isn't it? You can actually see it's got directional, right, with a little plus next to a triangle. So it looks like it to me. So it doesn't matter. There's no metal on this, so it won't bridge anything out. But then you guys can clearly see, and it is switched on. So does it matter which way are these turned? No, I suppose it don't matter, does it? So let me probe one end to the other, and I've got nothing. So let me flip the leads round. I don't know if any of these diodes have gone into test. No, it don't like that. I'll get a little battery symbol come up. It doesn't like that testing. But I've got nothing. Again, it doesn't like that turning round point. Nothing. I'm not getting a reading from these diodes. One of the diodes have all gone. It isn't. Oh, it isn't unplugged. No, it's not unplugged. It's switched on. Do they have to be switched on these? Because this is what I'm saying. Understanding when it comes to electricals, especially this vintage stuff, it's very finicky. I mean, straight away, there's another diode that runs parallel straight to where these fuses are. And that to me looks burnt. No, it's just carbon. It looks like they've got, so we've got more diodes straight in parallel with these bloody fuses coming out. I wonder if that could be causing. Switch it off. Right, it's switched off. I've got the power button on to the thing itself, but this is what I find sort of like frustrating, because again, if you look, there's a little diode. Obviously, if I put that there, and you can clearly see. I'll point at one direction. So we've got a diode here, straight in line with these fuses, right? All of these. We've got one there, and then there's one right behind the 2 capacitors and a ceramic capacitor. Obviously, and that's another diode. And look, you can clearly see. So we got this thing's full of diodes for some reason, but I'm not getting no meter. I'm not getting no readings from the actual diodes itself. So again, if I probe it, I'm getting nothing. I'm actually getting no reading at all. Oh, I'm getting a reading off that one. That one's reading. It's reading 0.5. So we're obviously getting a reading there, but I'm not getting no voltage reading off any of these. Oh, I am now. Well, I did do, then it stopped. Let's do some of the back ones. Yeah, I think you guys could be onto something here, you know. That's reading. That's reading. That might be because of the directional that I've got these in, because one's going this way, one's going the other way, so it's going that way, because these only read in one direction. Yeah, these are reading 465. Yeah, they're fine, they're reading, but when I switch it on, I get nothing. That's strange. So let's read the others. I'm not getting nothing from there. That one's reading again, 47. Let me spin it round. Let's do the last three, because I think the back one I didn't get no reading at all. No, I am getting a reading, but it's spiking up. It's going up, which the others wasn't doing that. See, look, that reads at 471. Right, that reads at 470. That reads at 0.472, but the one at the bottom is going up in value. It's spiking. It's going through the roof. I wonder if it's going up to 700. It's now climbing up to 8. I wonder if that diode's gone 40. It's got like a black coating on it. Look, it's still climbing. Diodes shouldn't do that. It's acting like a capacitor. You know. What about the one next to it? Look, it stops. Now that one's spiking. That's strange. That's spiking. That's going up, and it's unplugged. It's not even switched on. That's going up, the same as the bottom one. It's 82, where all the others are actually. I'm really baffled. So if that's the case, I mean, what about? I mean, these other capacitors. I mean, it's probably never had even a capacitor change. Looking at the diode on here, it stops at 527, 0.527 volt of a diode, right? And again, this one, but two of them are climbing. It's not just one, it's two of them that's climbing. It's going up in value. Because it's reading in circuit, I suppose it would do. Because look, and the reasons why I proved that, you've got to switch the leads from two from the top and see if the line is on the other way. So two from the top. So what, the basic, oh, hold up a minute, let's take all this, look. It's the only thing with these bloody, they tangle up and I can't even move them. So it's definitely so you're basically saying, so when I switch it on, for some reason it's pulling the power down to a millivolt, because obviously it spiked for a split second from the white and the yellow. It spiked from 24 volts all the way down to roughly to 15.6 volts, right? And then it stopped there. So obviously it's going through the fuses, it's pulling the power, but it's getting to, obviously the only thing that's near enough into the circuit is the only items around this area. Obviously this is the main power inlet, so it pulls. So straight away, capacitors. Would a capacitor actually do that? Could a capacitor, if the correct, if say for instance the value starts spiking, would that also affect the diodes that's in parallel with each other to actually stop it? No, I suppose it wouldn't, because then it would overvolt. It would actually, because or I've known capacitors to dry out, which they do dry out would that effective value not be enough voltage from the capacitor to put into the diode to continue its circuitry? Remember, this has been sitting around for a good couple of years in a loft, and it made sense because it was full of dust and dirt. So, which I can still see on the board, you can still see up there, it's still lined with thick dust. So this has been many years that this could be sitting around. Now all of a sudden, I've put 240 volts straight through, and trying to get the correct voltage, that could actually affect it. Measure in one direction. If they look like the ones, yeah, let's read that. Yeah, because I think you might be onto something here, Pico, because it looks like it is there as well. So it says measure in the direction that they go. Yeah, because obviously they've got lines when you look closely on the actual, because it's unplugged. I'll make sure. Take the plug out, even though it's switched off. I'll unplug it. On the directions, obviously you've got you've got like the silver end, and the rest is black. So obviously, if the silver end would that be a plus or negative without looking up? I know one of them's a plus and one's a negative on the leg, but these must run to these ceramic capacitors that's on top. And I've never known ceramic capacitors to literally go. To be honest, they normally are 99% of the time. I've seen half of these bloody ceramic capacitors been cut in half and they still work. So they're very sort of millivolts, but with diodes, especially these are directional. This pulls power to one side for it to go, and then it needs power obviously to go into this, which powers this over that, gets onto the secondary board and pulls power to the record player. But yeah, I think you're right. It's just literally, if I put that into play, it is so, because like you said, obviously it needs the transformer needs power going in, but even with you disconnect it, you're not going to get nothing coming out. But it definitely is power related, because again, where the other one had blew the transformer up completely, it completely killed it, dead, both sides. I didn't even get 240 going in, because obviously it did the 240 on the 110 completely dismantled it. So it destroyed the transformer, and that's why a lot of them radios have that issue. But this ain't been touched, and it was working before I unplugged it, but except that it didn't have the belt, because the belt disintegrated. But the direction, let me measure the direction. I'm going to start from this side, right? So obviously I've got the plus on the silver side and the black on the black side, right? We got nothing there, but let me flip it round. The band, the band is the negative side, right? That's interesting. So that makes sense, right? That now I know that for future. So the band is the negative. So let me put the negative on the negative, and we'll measure that. Actually, see if that's in. Let me show you guys, because you obviously can't. You want to see as much as I do, because it helps on that front. So I'm going to put negative on negative and probe it, and we've got 0.473, right? I'm going to do the same again to the next leg. 0.73. Now I'm going to flip it round, because now the other two in the other direction. Probe that. No, it's spiking. Oh, it's gone up to 4.86. Right? That could be because it's reading in circuit. I think that's fine. 4.86. So we got 0.47, and these ones are 86, right? So let me go round to the other side of that. Oh, sorry guys. Let me put that in so these guys can see. Let me read that. I'll let you take over. I've got something to sort me head out from there. Okay, Pico, no worries, bro. No worries, buddy. Right, so again, let's probe. Black on the grey side. it looks like that's reading 0.473. Next one, 474. Now I've got to flip it over again. So we got two reading at 0.86. Now that's spiking again, 486. So we got, and the bottom one, 486. Well, they must be all right. They must be all right. So you've got 4 reading 486 and the other 4 reading 476. So obviously they must be fine. Let me read that one back in circuit. That one reads 528. They're reading 528, that diode. So what about the other diode? That one reads 528. So let me read the other diode. And again, 529. So these two read absolutely fine. So we got the bottom two right next to the ceramic capacitor are actually reading 486, because these ceramic capacitors are running parallel to all of these diodes running. So if that's the case, obviously taking that out and follow that in circuit. The only other thing, trying to have a look, we ain't got no more diodes on them, have we? There's no more of the diodes on that. That was the only diodes it had. But would that now be would that be a resistor issue? That could actually be a resistor problem. So, but it's funny, it didn't take out a fuse. Why didn't it blow a fuse? Again, it looks like the fuse bypass went through. What are these caps remain at? They're so dusty. They look. Let me get my thing out for a minute. The torch, because I can see better. Them capacitors running right next to it are 2,200 microfarads at 25 volts. So we've got another one there, 35 volt at 1,000 microfarad, and these two, God, I can't even see that. It's bloody 63 at 400. So it's 63 volts at 470 microfarad, and this small one looks like 50 volt, 100 microfarad. So we've got a couple right next to this circuitry, and obviously we've got all these. I mean, it's just caked up in bloody dust where it's just been sitting around. But obviously, one of the components has gone down, but the diodes seem to be reading. If a diode was faulty, you probably would get open line. You probably wouldn't even get nothing, or it would spike out of control. Basically, what does the diode do here? It takes the AC and converts it to DC. Yeah, right. So obviously they are reading. So I can rule out these diodes. That one reads 500 because it's next to the cap. I suppose that's probably what it would. These are reading nearly 500. They're 476, and the other one's 586 because obviously the ceramic. So it's taking, because of the way the voltage is on this section, it's coming directly from where this transformer is all coming in, where the power going in. So it's taking it and converting it over. I'm just double checking to make sure these wires, I didn't take that in consideration. You know, when you're bending wires and things, and you've got to be careful that is any of these pushed down. And again, caps, I hate caps being bent, because again, if you bend and shorten the legs out at the end of the day, again, that can create an issue just by itself. You know, and I hate these type of components where they all bend over and they all start touching, and you're thinking, well, that's not great. But again, looking at the little pins, again, I'm just pushing the pins down, make sure, because again, if these connectors ain't in, obviously it ain't pulling the power to that, but it must be getting some power, because it didn't, obviously, the record player come on for a split second with the power light. Now, before that blew up or something stopped in it, the green light stayed on, but it just wouldn't spin because obviously there was no belt. Now it turns on and turn straight off. Well, the power issue is obviously coming directly from this power board, and it's only a small power board at the end of the day. But I haven't got a clue where it's actually coming from, because again, there's multiple stuff in here. Obviously, that's your stereo amplifier. This is what gives you your sound, and it needs to pull that 20 volts because it looks like it's directly in line with the power side. So this is power related, and the wires go in, and then it sort of comes straight out. And looking at it, it goes directly to that record player into the secondary on part of the board. So the issue ain't going to be on the tape side. It looks like it's definitely going to be related here where the issue is. So, which is frustrating because, like I said, I've now put the belts on, and that's all I've done was unplugged it, and it didn't work after. So I thought, it's like everything. As soon as you start disrupting the power, I mean, you can actually see where the power comes in on that front. And actually, come to think about it, I've just looked. Let me double check, guys. Look at what I've just found, and I didn't even notice. There's a screw here and here, and this is obviously the input lead, right? Going in. I've just found another little circuit board behind it that goes onto this. So there could be something blown behind that, and I didn't look. Let me take that off and have a quick butcher's at the end of the day. Because again, it looks like I've got to take off 4 screws, and this is plastic. I wonder if there's something. What if there's a? I didn't check that because I thought it was directly going in, but there ain't. There's a board covering this underneath on that front, and you can actually see it. So I've got a screw there, and when I looked where the wire's going in, there's other components behind it. So that could be, or could that be something in there that's gone and not getting the correct voltage to go into the secondary? Because it seems all right round here for some reason. It won't hurt. It's unplugged anyway. I hate mucking around with power supplies because, again, you've got to be really careful because of the voltages is involved at the end of it. Would it be okay if I think I might just unplug the record player for a minute. I don't want to damage that circuit board. Let me just pop these out. Right. Because I should get something. Let me just whip this out for a minute, and it just makes it easier. Right, that makes sense, because now you've got 47 from the transformer, and it says 0.47. So right, so that makes sense. But I did not see this. I didn't take no notice of this whatsoever because I didn't know nothing about it. I thought it was just coming direct. The power was going directly to the transformer, then on the board. There's another board behind here, and I didn't look. So I'm going to have a quick look and just have a quick nose to see if there's any issues on that board side. For the sake of this plastic cover, take it off. Cool. No, there's another one. So it's 4 screws in total. Wow. Now, there will be voltage. So it's the only thing mucking around with anything with live voltages. As they normally say, don't try this at home. At the end of the day, you're only going to get... Right, there is another fuse. And how did I know they was going to hide a bloody fuse under it? Now, look guys, look. I think, is that live? Touch that. No, that is. Let me grab a torch. Now, I want to be careful here because again, right. So again, right, I'm holding. This is isolated, right. I ain't got it switched on. That's not the greatest of soldering. If you want my honest opinion, that's not the greatest on there. But there is a fuse. And I didn't even know there was a fuse there. So first things first, let's just take the fuse out. Right, should be alright. Let me just take the fuse out. I know what direction. And just do a quick continuity test on that fuse. I should think it is. I'll just hope it ain't popped the fuse. Right. fuse is fine. Computer says no. No. So there's obviously, and there's nothing behind it, it's just circuitry at the end of the day. And you can clearly see, look, if you look behind, it's just circuit behind it. Look. It's just got a sharp, and oh we are, it tells you on the back, I can just about see it, right, on the back here, let me spin it up, I'll show you guys on it, on the back, it's obviously got writing, and it says 240, right, 000 volts at the top. It actually tells you the output of this, 220 on the centre, 220 in the middle, 110 at the bottom, but there's no switch. Because when I look, if I show you guys, oh, there is a switch. It's on 240. Didn't see it. Look, 240 there. So there is a switching system, but obviously it's set the correct amount. So it's actually set at 240. Rated in. Yeah, look, there's that bloody stuff again, and I'm trying to get it all on my hands. It's unbelievable. Nasty stuff there. So I fucking smear all that on, then I can't get it off. So it is set correctly on that front, but there ain't no other switching system on it. Let's get that off. I hate touching this gear. So obviously I didn't even notice, right, I didn't even notice that that was the case when it come to having that behind it. So clearly there's not really that much on there. Mind you, saying that, what is that? Is that to do with the 110 switching to the 240? This item here, we've obviously got this, so the voltage goes in. Is that to do with the voltage regulator? Like, you know, it switches it from the 110 on that front, because again, looking at this on that front, but there ain't nothing else on the circuit. But that's it. That is interesting, and I can't see nothing burnt. I still don't think it is. I think the voltage, so there's no voltage here, so it's not popped any fuse. It's on the correct voltage, which is 240 at the end of it. I still think the issue could be on this board somewhere that's related. Let's put all this back. I mean, look how dusty and I mean, you can tell how long does that take for it to get like that? I mean, it must take quite a while at the end of it. Let's put it the correct way. Hold up. Which way did I have it? Was it that way? No, that way. There we go. So I've got to pull it back into play. I didn't even notice that behind though, so at least I know that it's absolutely fine. That the fuse is fine on that front. But it's the only thing to take these out. They're fiddly as hell, putting them back in. That's it. That's why I just see where the wire went. I mean, it looks like another board behind. Let me check it. But your transformer is 100% fine. You're getting a fine output. Well, that's a relief, because I didn't really want that. Obviously, there's obviously then one of these, more than one component has gone down on here. Because like you said, it would make sense, because you're getting 15 volt. When I probed the other one, when I was doing the other sharp radio, if you remember correctly, right, 240 went straight in, but I got 0 volts. I didn't even get a millivolt coming out of it, because putting 110 straight in a transformer, and if you switched it from, if I put that switch over to 110 and then put 240 straight in, that would take that transformer straight out. It would just kill it dead from that point. You'll get the voltage going into it, but you won't get nothing coming out. I'm getting voltage coming out of it. That's what made me think that and this ain't been tampered with. So 100%, there's not an issue with that. You know, has that decided to go pop or? But looking at it, it would make sense that something else on this board now, obviously, is gone of the voltage. But again, if that was the case, why didn't you take out the fast burning fuses? That's the idea of the circuit protection with these fast burning fuses, and there's more than one, so there's 7 in total just in this circuit, and that's quite impressive to have a lot of fuses. So I'll be back and forth and sorting lunch out for the lad, etc. No worries, Pico. Cheers, buddy. Yeah, so I'm stumped. There's no crystals in this. There's just, you know, it's not a watch or anything like that. It hasn't got no clock or anything like that to worry about. But obviously, we're not getting the voltage is obviously whatever it's doing. We're not getting the correct voltage sort of getting around this area to power this up, because when I do and plug it all in, I just get a hum, a really low hum, because obviously it's not putting the remaining voltage it needs to power the rest of this up. And looking at these caps, they're not swollen or leaked, which a capacitor don't have to be swollen or leaked for it to go 40. You know, remember, if this thing is looking at this could be late 80s, very early 90s, which this probably would say, I would say this is more mid 90s than the early to very early 1980s on there. But if it would be very late 80s, early 90s, and that probably would fit in a ballpark, because Sharpwood was around that time. But them capacitors wouldn't last, not nearly 40 years plus. They probably wouldn't at the end of the day. And again, they are high value, but it wouldn't stop it from completely. Would a capacitor completely stop it from not getting no voltage at all? Because it looks like when I switched it on, you did see the green light briefly come on and then went straight off. So it's definitely, I would say, a diode, not so much a diode, but more a capacitor related, because capacitors take the charge and then obviously gets the next, then it passes that and then goes through all the little ones, and so it's got to be one of them little components that's gone down, you know, at the end of the day, because like I said, for a brief second you see it spike 25 and then drop all the way down to 15. So it did get it briefly, but only for a split second, which is really frustrating. So I don't know, I'm stumped. This is, again, understanding circuitry. It's not the easiest to understand. I don't think it's going to be nothing major, and it ain't going to be nothing on this side where all the tape deck is, which is here. I don't think that's the problem. I reckon the issue is here, because it just, there's now, it briefly comes on and then shuts straight back down again. It's like a circuit protection side. It's sort of like, it gets the power it needed to for a split second and it just stops. Now, we're on the DC at the point, so that side looks weird at that point. So this is why it looks weird. Yeah, it does. It is a strange development, very strange development. Because like you said, it does pull power for a split second. So probably, I mean, I was just relating straight away, oh, has that power supply died at the end of the day? You know, is that transformer at it? You know, because transformers can't do that. But then no one's been in here, only me. It's only me, and it did work. Before I opened it up, I did do it live. It did power the radio. But now all I've done was I unplugged these plugs from the record player, switched it on without the record player, so I haven't touched nothing. I thought, put the belts on, so I didn't take none of this out, right? None of this here, I did not take none of this out. All I've done was got the tape deck, flipped it over, left all the wires in. I didn't even pull any of the wires, and I've done it all correctly. Look, that's why I pulled all these out. Look, all of these like little pull tag ones, I pulled them all out, and I thought, yeah, that'll do. that's enough for me, just enough to pull it out. I just want to get underneath, put the new belts in, put it straight back. That way, not disturb none of the plugs. And as soon as I've done that, plugged it in, and I went, well, now the record player ain't working. Obviously, it must be a power-related issue now, because now it comes on and comes straight off, instantly turns off, and that's weird. And this thing is absolutely cooked with capacitors. It's loads. I wouldn't want to do a recap on this, put it this way, because I've just looked at the top part of the board. There's got to be about 40 caps on this. It's literally mental with capacitors at the end of it. So, and this, what we got here, we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29. There's 30 caps just on that board. This is what I'm saying. That's remaining without that, because this has got multiple. This has got multiple boards. There's another board underneath at the end of the day, and I can see it under there. So again, but I haven't touched that. I had no reason to touch all of this underneath. This is what makes me think, you know, obviously now the record player it don't get power at all. You know, it just only a split second in turns off. That's obviously going to be for the speakers, because you can see the colour of the speakers, so that'll all be to do with the power amplifier if you want to plug it in and things like that. Try to measure again, but the blue button, and then switch it to AC, and it should be fine. Right, I'll try it. Anything's worth a go. But if not, I ain't bothered. I'll give it to the old boy, just put him together. But I was going to have a look at them record players I've got in here. I've got 3 nice record players, vintage ones. Again, for some reason, I've done a bit of researching this morning while I was in work, and basically it said if you're getting a hum from one of them, it could be, I didn't know them cartridges can go bad with records on that. So yeah, again, I don't know if I can actually get that. So let me put it on voltage. Put it on blue, and it's got AC. Is that right? You can actually see it's got AC written on it. At the end, if I press it again, it goes to millivolts. If I press it again, it goes to AC, and then it's got V. So let me zero it out, because it'd just be easier. Should be enough. Right, let me zoom it in so you guys can clearly see. So, do you want me to? Shall I plug it in and then test it all again? Needs to say AC for measuring on the transformer. Right, okay. I'm going to plug it in. That's strange. It's off at the moment. Switch it on now. Right. I'm going to switch it on. I'll put the probe on the black on the earth. But it was just coming from the red one. It did spike for a split second. It's saying 23 volts. That sounds about right. So that's coming from the red. 23. Is this thing now working? I'm getting 12. Well, how weird is that? I haven't even touched it. It's saying it's working. 12. I was only getting 15. The yellow one, the white one, I'm only getting 0. I'm getting nothing. That's weird. I'm getting 12 volts now. I wasn't getting that earlier on. The belt or the sensor fault. It's instantly shut off the system. That's weird, isn't it? I wonder if that could be here. Guys, do you know what? Turn it off. Let's pop that back on. I wasn't getting that earlier. And I ain't done nothing. Seriously, I ain't even touched this. Because all I've done was unplugged it. But that is weird as hell. That is weird as hell. Right? So, I've got to put this one in the correct orientation. Like I said, it's a lovely record player. I really did want to get this one, you know, all for the sake of it. Let me put Now look, I'll show you what I'm doing, right? So I'm just going to put the plugs in. It's just resting on the top, right? I'm not going too mental, but that green light was supposed to stay on. Was supposed to, right? These plugs can only go in one way. Right, plugged in. I'm not resting it on there, so it's not shortening or anything out. So, let me put, what I want to see is that green light staying on. No, it still shuts off. Shuts off. So, if that's reading, if that's the case then it definitely ain't the power supply. It's not that transformer. So that is something else related. That's bloody weird. 8-bit. What's your car for? How you doing, buddy? 8-bit repair. Yes, so the transformer then must be okay, but that green light does, before, you can actually see it goes on then goes straight off. But I checked that before and I wasn't getting that voltage. So we're getting 12 volts coming out and 24 volts coming straight out of the red. But obviously we're not getting nothing coming out on that side. The belt or the sensor fault. It will instantly shut off the system. Right. Yeah. Because the belt obviously was snapped, but when it was snapped, the light did stay on, and all I'd done was unplugged it at the end of the day. I mean, how bloody mad is that? I mean, it's completely up in the bonkers. But let me unplug it. But for some reason, I wasn't getting the voltage on that front, but there's nothing. Looking at the system, see, look, all that's on the bottom of here is here, right? So all I've done was took all that off, just to actually make sure I put the belt back on the correct way, trying to get to the belt system. So again, I mean, on this thing, obviously the eject works, but I mean it was working fine, but for some reason now, it's sort of like, for a split second it turns on, then it turns instantly off. So, what's that? RIP. IB2, hi hot cows. How you doing? Thanks for joining. So yeah, looking at this, so when I was putting voltage into this, it's still switched on at the end of the day. So obviously it's got to be another power related issue on this power board itself, because like you said, I haven't touched it. When it first powered on, the logic board checks the tone arm and switches and it triggers, and then its motor isn't drawn currently, so the arm can't find home due to the sticky rails on this one. Right, that's what it was, Peter. Yeah, it said. So yeah, because of that, there was obviously obviously it did work, but there was obviously, it couldn't drive because there was no belt to drive it, but I could hear the motor spinning. So I think it was trying to look for it. Obviously it couldn't. Now I've put the belt on, but before I put the belt on, I powered this up with no record, with not that plugged in, because all of the belts had gone, even on the tape deck, on the tape side. So all I'd done was flip that over. I didn't even tape none of the wires out. So I just flipped the top part of the mechanism so I can get underneath and get access to the belts, because it's got a 4-belt system on there. It's really complicated. One belt was overlapping, and then one was going one way, and then one had to go the other. I just about done it without it not knocking a belt off. Anyway, that's done, but it is getting power to the thing, but I'm not getting obviously enough voltage coming out or going into the board to power the rest up, because the radio is not got, I've got a very low hum and it was working, but obviously the record player shuts off instantly, so it comes on and goes straight off. So yeah, it was working. Have you changed the belt now, and is it out of alignment? If so, it won't work. It's alignment. Well, that's just it. I did put the belt on, but before I put the belt on, right, that's what I said. All I've done was, when I unplugged it first, right, because all it's got is these. That's the only connectors it's got for the linear record player. So all I basically done was unplug that, took that off like I just done a minute ago, changed the belts, and I thought, right, before I put the record player back on, because obviously I didn't have the belt at the time, let's just power it up to see if it powers, right? Yeah, it partly powered, but then I couldn't get no audio coming out because there's nothing powering this big bloody audio chip up here, this power speaker amplifier. So I thought, well, that's weird. So I thought, let's put the record player back in. Why it ain't got no belt, right? Because the green light did stay on when I first done a live stream of when I've just picked it up, and then it just come on and then went instantly off. So I thought, oh, well, now it's not, and it makes sense because now I've got a very low hum. But when I was testing it earlier, I got no voltages coming out of the read. But then I probably was reading it wrong for the multimeter. But when I've just tried it in AC mode, we got 24 volts coming out. So I know now I can rest assured that it's not a transformer issue. But it didn't blow none of the fuses. So that's what I'm saying this car for. I just took that plastic off. There's another fuse behind here. I checked all these fuses. I checked the diodes. I've just done the checking of the diodes. They're all reading near enough the exact same value of that, right? Pico told me which side is the negative and what's the positive. I've tested it and they're all coming up about 456 or 476, 476, and in the bottom four ones are reading 486. I checked the ones that were right next to there's another two lot of diodes. They're reading 582. And that one reads about 582, so I know these two are right, but that's about as far as I got. And again, the fuses are checked absolutely fine. They're not blown, they're not gone anywhere. So yeah, I'm a bit stumped of thinking, well, now the belt's on, obviously now it's now the power's not staying on. But you know, before I even plugged that record player back in, all I've done was unplugged it. And as soon as I unplugged it, it didn't like it, and then it won't come back. The power now, obviously, it's not staying on. It's not getting something on this circuitry, especially on this side. It's definitely coming from here. It won't be from this side. It definitely is coming from here because it's this, even from the records, trying to get power directly coming out, it's not staying on to the record player because obviously that's what these connectors are. Looking at them bits at the bottom, they're coming directly from inside the board, but I'm stumped because now I don't know. I'm completely. I'll probably just put it together and let the old boy have a look at the end of it. It's nothing is wrong with it other than the belt was misaligned. Yeah. So which is a shame because, like I said, now I've got the belt this morning. I checked the belt. They give me the correct belt, which I got it from this company. Put the new belt on. It made no difference because now it won't stay on. Apparently, it's not aligned and it will switch off. I wonder how you align it then. Again, I've got no schematics. You probably won't get much on schematics on some of these stuff because it's vintage and it's really hard to find. But at least I now know. I honestly thought I'm not getting no voltage coming out of that. I thought that was going to be a problem, but no, it's not the case. And I thought it might just be a wire popped out, not getting the correct voltage. I just checked it and I thought, no, look, it's all original. I've not touched it. I didn't have no reason to touch none of this in circuit. All I've done was unplugged it. That's all I've done. No, you have to put the belt. You have to put the belt on and then align the system. And once it's the system has shut off. Right. So now I've got the belt on. What do I do then? Just pull it on and just leave it and switch it on and see if it corrects itself. It might do. I mean, it's got to go back anyway. I mean, obviously, I can't do nothing here. So, because I know what happens. It's a bit like that bloody thing. As soon as you start touching power supplies and start mucking around with things, this vintage gear, obviously it don't like being touched at some point in its life, and it just upsets it. So let me put the screw back in. Oh, I forgot. Bloody screwdriver ain't long enough, is it? This thing has a really deep socket. Good. That's better. I think I did use this one. I can't remember. No, hold up. Didn't it, when a flat end? Is there any twist in the belt or tight that makes sure that the arm travels all the way along? Actually, that's a good point. Basically, before I put this back on, you could be right. That's one thing I didn't test. Let me just quickly test that. So let me unplug it, because it's switched off anyway. Let me move this to one side. So now I've put the belt on, right, the belt on this. So let me pull it down and you can see. So I've took it, all I've basically done, right, that's why I like to have extra light. So basically what I've done now, it now spins lovely and free. And I had to take all that platter off because it was absolutely caked with this black gunk of ink everywhere. It was all over the platter and it was a nasty situation. So if I lay this down carefully and then spin the wheel, the platter on the wheels, there should be the arms at both sides of here. So we've got side A and side B. So if I spin that wheel, will that work? No, obviously it won't. And there's no kinks in the wheel, so no, that's not even spinning. That's not spinning. I suppose it probably wouldn't, because it needs the power to enable. Oh, I'm pulling the thing off. Let me have a look. It does open though. Make sure that the tone arm can move freely all the way across the rails, and then when powered off. That's it. That's a good point. So let me open it up. Right. Let me move this up, and let's open this up. Right. So the platter is spinning. You can actually see the platter spinning. So the arm is here, right? We've got one toner arm on the arm side on it. I don't want to end up just pulling this all the way over because it just feels fragile. No, it's not moving. No, I don't want to force it. I mean, it's really loose. Feels loose to me. Actually, let me come to think about that. Where is that? It looks like it's here. Right in that corner. Look, watch. The arm. I can see the mechanism. And I can't move the mechanism because it looks like it's electronically washed-aimed on it, and I don't want to force it. Let's see if I can try and poke the... No, I don't want to move that. I don't want to force it because it don't feel right trying to force it on that front. But you can actually see right in that point there, look, moving it, the mechanism is on there, and I can actually see the circuitry because it looks like it's on the wire system behind. So It looks like it pulls. Is that on that the right system on that one? It looks like it. Let me double check. Yeah. Because the sensor's up here. I've just seen where the sensor is, and I'll show you where the sensor is. Right. It's on a wire system, right? The wire system, and the sensor is right here, and you can actually see the sensor. It sits that pulls it on the actual. Look, if I pull it, you can actually see. This is the sensor here. So it looks like it pulls round this complicated wire system at the end of the day, and it's on the switch. So as soon as that does, that it's supposed to engage it. But this looks like the sensor here that pulls with that belt, with this wire, and then it pulls the toner arm because it connects to this thin metal wire, and it's quite complex. You can actually see the complex system that's involved with that. So it's obviously on a little switch system there, and it's pointed. Is that pointed up? It looks like it. Looks like it's connected, but I suppose again, but when I select it, it doesn't do anything on that front because, like you said, it's obviously. But that's the gear mechanism for that arm to go across. It should be moved freely. Oh, well, yeah, but because it's on that wire, it seems like it's really tight at the end of the day. It was like that before. So, because it looks like that's connected on that front, because it's hitting that notch at the side of it, at the end of it, and yeah, that is obviously not moving on that front because of the way that wire is, and it ain't jumped off the wire. I can actually see it's on the roller system, so it goes all the way down up here, and there's a reel there. I can actually see the wire, so it is sitting correctly. It's not jumped off the system, but the power, like you said. There's a limit to the microswitches connected to the end of the travel. One must be closed while the arm has been picked. Right. So again, if I look at the side, this is obviously where that sensor is on the side here. So if you look, you are right. It is hitting the end on that. There's a notch right on that system, and that's where it's sitting. And it looks like that's where it's reached. On that front, and I can't turn it because it feels like it's locked. So, which I don't really want to force, because I know what will happen. You force it and break something at the end of the day. Well, I must be close. Yeah. So it won't let me move that. It feels like it's locked into, position. It feels like it has to be and this is probably why it probably won't until it gets electricity to unlock it. So yeah, you could be right. It could be, that's why it comes on and could go off. But then why aren't I getting the rest of the radio? The radio should, again, for some reason, the radio is now, I'm not getting nothing from the radio. I'm not getting no output to the cassette tape as well. So this is what makes me think it's still power related, it feels weird. It's just something just feels weird. Yeah, so you get probably, if you put the belt on after moving it, the wheel should go out of alignment. So let me spin the wheel around, see if it does. I'm spinning the wheel, right. We're not getting nothing. Nothing. Both sides, nothing. So, let me spin that. Look, guys, that's turning that top wheel. That turned that slightly. Here we go. It's turning the top wheel. Look, it's turning it. Can you see it? I'm spinning this round. Actually, let me spin this all the way round then. Right. That's now took that off, and now that clicks. Shall I put this back on and give this a go? That was, I didn't know nothing about that. It's like you said. I'm going to spin it all the way to the other side. Right. It'll probably be, it's aligned with the, not the power issue. Right, so let me spin that round all the way round the other side. I'm turning the top part, because spinning that platter ain't doing nothing. Right, but if I turn that little top cog, it's obviously engaged with this part of this top one, because again the belt was snapped off it. I put a new one on. Now that notch is coming up there to halfway, and it is gradually turning. And it is, because look, that there's a stop notch there at the end of the day, so, and it's turning it ever so slight. I'm just coming up now, and while I'm doing that, where's that torch? Is that moving the needle? Yes, it is moving the needle. So I can actually see, look, it's actually moved the needle right over. You can actually see it, which before it wasn't doing that. So again, let me just turn this. It's just coming up now, and that should stop. It does. It won't spin no more. So now the needle is all the way over. I'm going to plug this back in. Right. Let me plug it back in. And give that another go again. Plug it back in. Hold up, have I got the right side? I have. Because this has to be down and the thing on it. I won't put I won't put that back in there yet then. At front. Let me just put, this has to go at the top. Is that correctly aligned? Yeah, it is. Okay. So, let me just put the big ones back in. One of that's going to do, it could be like you said, I mean, it's worth giving it a go. Now I've spun that all the way over, you can now see that that platter now is all the way over the actual, not the platter, the actual needles all the way in there. You see, now you can actually see it. So if I plug this in, let's see what happens on that front. Because there's no other plugs to plug into it. Switch it on, is that? Switch it off. So that's off at the moment. Let me switch it on. Let's make sure it's on record. It's on record. Let's see if that power supply brings that back. It stays on. Wow. It actually stayed on. And the record is going back. Wow, would you honestly believe, would you Adam and Eve there? Now, yeah, but the power supply's gone, the green light went out, but that did stay on. So, but it did stay on, but now it's gone back off. That's weird. Let me, do you know what? Let me go and grab a record. The green light actually did stay on, and but then as soon as it got to the end, it didn't. It's sort of like, yeah, look, it's spinning, and the green light's come on. It's not great though. I mean, that's not. It's not. So it must be like you said, it must be a sensor related issue. But that's not, is that supposed to be going faster in there? I'll tell you what, let me go and grab the speaker. That's weird. I don't understand these systems. Right. I can hear it, it's very slow. That's weird, isn't it? So like you said, there must be some truth in what you said. It's like you said, that was weird. I thought, well, nothing else I'll unplug. So I would have upset it that sort of side. Let me pull this out, halfway out. But that's not spinning slowly. And that's the correct belt. It looks like it's struggling. No, it looks like it stopped. Right, let's turn it off a minute. Right. Oh, see, I can't bloody see a thing over here. Trying to, that's better. Right, that's in now. That's weird. That is really weird. So, tape. Let's see if we got tape. At least if we got tape. Right. You can hear it. I've got no output. Even with that, I've got static. Right. Okay, and put it back on record. I will click Rev Q. Ah, now it's flashing quick. It's flashing quick. It feels like the record is not getting. It feels like it's sort of like. No, I can hear it. Right, turn it. Oh, so it's just gone bang. Did you hear that? So it's just gone bang. Bloody hell, I'm doing an handy moment. But I did knock my electric out. I just heard that go pop. I guarantee that was now a fuse. Fucking hell, car for. I'll tell you what. Bloody hell, Andy is not the only one who has his moments. I reckon that is. I said to you, I can't smell anything, so I reckon that's fuse related. Let's take that back out. Right, that is now popped a fuse. But I said to you, that looks like that was struggling. Right, and it should. Mind you, the dogs run. That feels like. I don't know why, but that definitely did pop. I'm going to test that fuse for a minute. Fucking dog run for its life. He's thought, what the bloody hell was that? Right, but it definitely popped. So yeah, I think it's one of them at the end. I could see it. I think I'm right. Let me put the probe on. It's switched off. Let me grab my multimeter. I think it's now. It's obviously tried to drain the power and it pops. Yeah. We didn't get the magic smoke, but we did get the magic pop. Remember, this thing's probably never had been fired up much in its life, so. Right, diode test. Let's just test. Let's test these fuses. Good, 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 good. So what popped then? Now, would have been the other fuse behind that shield? I said to you that didn't sound right, did it? I said to you, I went, oh yeah, that didn't sound too great, to be totally honest. So, okay, let's take the fuse out. Let's take this cover out. Let's unplug it. Again, don't want to light up like Santa Claus trying to get his presents on delivery. This is why I was saying at the end of the day, don't try this at home. You know, these vintage machines, I do love them. I mean, I have all respect for all this type of these type of vintage stuff, but yeah, it's obviously for that reason. You know, they are very finicky, and you will have to. But at least now I know. Again, something I've learned, thanks to you guys. I would have known that. So if that wasn't reading, because that wouldn't stay on. But again, it's all about the vintage stuff. It's all about the learning process. Now, is this fuse gone? Because there was a fuse behind here. So, has it popped that fuse? Let me have a look. It looks, I think it has, you know. I can see it from here. Let me double check. I think this is one that's gone. Bye boy. No, I ain't got none of these. No, it's actually alright, it's fine. So now something else is blown. See, again, I don't understand it. In circuit, if you'd think these time fuses will pop at the end of the day. No, it's absolutely fine. But something, you definitely heard it pop. But, is there anything else that made that go pop? It was struggling. I did see it struggle. I'll just open it now. It ain't killed a bloody, you know. But then it would have took out a smaller component. But no, they're fine. The fuses are absolutely fine. So what's the point having a bloody fusing circuit system if it ain't going to pop a fuse? Them capacitors ain't, they're bulging, are they? No, no bulge on the capacitors. That's weird. Is there a solenoid? Just thinking that there was a solenoid that fired. Right. Yeah, because that was a loud bang and then it shut off. Just having a look. I can't see any. I mean, it was working partially there. Now we're not getting nothing. That's weird. Shall I plug it back in just to see if we got voltage around this without that record player back in? I think that might be a sensible move. Let me switch it back on. Well, believe it or not, it's bloody playing, but we're not getting no. Well, that's weird, isn't it? So the bloody tape's still working. That's mental. But obviously I've got no voltage. Obviously I've got no output, and it's plugged in. Oh, that's all right. It's only me that didn't go bang. But nothing on the radio. Well, that's weird, isn't it? I mean, that's one for the books on that one. Never heard of that. I mean, you know, didn't pop a fuse, but we heard a bang. Now let me test to see if there's anything gone on that. It was struggling, so it was straight over the motor. So sure something didn't break. Yeah, chances are. Well, that's good. That's good news, indication that this is all right. So I can put all this back, turn all this off. Put all this back. Let me pull this back on. So it didn't pop a fuse. I said to you, I said, oh fuck me, I said straight away. I said we don't need to have fireworks. I mean, you heard that did go pop, and that definitely did pop on that front. Mind you, make great content. I mean, you know, do a YouTube video saying the world's greatest explosions. I sound like Mr. Boom, you know, when he does all the voltage testing and he gives himself electric shocks. Oh, he must be mad. I couldn't do that. he loves mucking about with electricity. I went, yeah, but he's mucking about the wrong voltages. You know, that's something that's going to hurt if he touches, because them amps, it won't let go. DC won't let go. Right, that one's in. Didn't want to drop any of them behind. So, it didn't pop anything on there. I'm really surprised. It did not even blow a fuse, you know. So that's what I said. What's the point having all this in circuitry if you've got all these bloody fuses and then all of a sudden, you know, it's not taking the fuses out. So let me move this for a minute. Move this out of the way. Now I know it didn't pop anything on there, which I was quite relieved, to be totally honest. Let me pull the bloody... would help, wouldn't it? I thought, what's happening here? So, I reckon something's gone bang on the record player. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That probably is, because that did definitely go, that was definitely a bang, and that motor was struggling. So, let me pull this to one side. So, something's popped on here. So, at least that's a good bit of news. At least it ain't took the remaining deck out. The rest of the system is here. Oh God, look at this lot. Jesus. You moved that over here for a minute, guys. I'm fed up with keep getting all this black shit everywhere, all over me. Right, okay. So, let me investigate. Could we see? Now let's do the smell test, right? Because again, smell test. Let me put the other light on, you might be able to see a bit better. There you go. So let me do a smell test on the motor. No? No. Smells good. It don't smell funky. Now, did it pop anything on top of here? Because obviously it didn't blow anything on that, but this was struggling to run that motor. Now, if I would have seen anything funky, anything would have exploded, but that was a bang. Ah, what's that? Looks like a burn mark. Is that a burn mark there? Let me double check. Move these things out the way. No. No, alright. Just checking the resistors, make sure. But we still got no output, which is bloody weird. I can't understand. You would have had a... Surely you would have had... unless that slider now won't give out. I mean, I don't get it. Also, check the motor if it's not shorted on the record side. Yeah, that's a good point. At the end of the day, it's... but, yeah, you was right with this sensor. It wouldn't stay on. But, obviously, that did. It now flashed, obviously saying it was a motor. And then I heard a pop. I just want now need to check every component if we got any shorts on the actual components itself. All these capacitors all fucking laying over each other, and I thought, I don't like the idea of that. Normally you'll see a short if there was then one of them resistors pops, because they are tiny and they don't need much voltage in resistors. Normally some of them are like, you know, 470 ohm resistors. They're very low resistance, but it wouldn't take much to take one of them out and pop it if that was struggling. So that's what I'm just looking. Just check all the resistors, make sure they're not black. Some of them's not touched or shortened out along the side. But that motor, you see it for yourself, it was struggling to try to spin that motor, because that was supposed to spin freely. There's one underneath here. No. Fine. Well, that's baffled me. I'm more baffled now than ever. There's not one component gone on this. I'm not saying it's not. So obviously you can't see a short inside, but that was a bang, and that did shut off, which I was really surprised. But I can't see, but we definitely had an Andy moment there, but I didn't knock all the power supply out because I've got a circuit protection on me thing on there, so it wouldn't have knocked me electric out, it would have just tripped that motor. But you just see it, I plugged it in without the record player, it powered up. So it's definitely, I can't see on that front. Check the wire on that wheel around on the tone arm if it didn't break. Yeah, that's a good point. I probably will check that. But it's definitely got, obviously, some multiple issues, because again, but I did have the radio working. The radio was working before I even unplugged all this. You know, it didn't come up with no warnings. The tape didn't, obviously I could hear the motor spinning, but it wasn't turning because of the belts. And also the green light constantly stayed on, but it won't work because of that. But now I put the belts on, it just feels, I mean, it's the correct belt. It's definitely the correct belt, but obviously, let me check that tone arm. Just like you said. Let me have a quick butcher's on. It was on this side, wasn't it? Where was it? Yeah, it was up here. Here it was. So let me have a quick look. It was behind here, down. Where's that arm? It's on the other side. Oh God, I'm still getting. Oh, that fine. I'm still getting that black bitumen. I don't know where it keeps coming from. I've fucking pulled enough of that off. Now the arm's gone on the other side now. It's not on this side no more. I don't think it is. Yeah, it's not on this side no more. The tone arm's now moved. The tone arm is now, it's gone back to the original side, and it's moved up this side. Before it was over here. Now it's up here. Where's that moved? It's moved halfway. Let me move that tone arm all the way up. That definitely popped. I did feel that definitely went bang. But I can't see no components gone. I mean, I can't see. I'm trying to check all of the other bits. See that? See, it's not turning free now. Yeah, that's actually. Oh, the belt's come off. That helped, wouldn't it? That was me. That is now reaching up to that point. Actually, yeah, good point. Yeah, it's moving the arm again. So as soon as I'm turning that little wheel, it's moving the arm all the way over. But that should spin freely. Yeah, it's definitely moving it over. But you've obviously got the solenoid. I can see the arm. Look, I'll show you. Now the arm is actually, you can actually see it here, right? Look. Obviously. It is moving sort of whilst aimed on it, but that big flywheel don't move as free as it did before. There's friction. So that could be, yeah, actually you're right. But that said that was for that model. Just felt like it was struggling. shouldn't struggle. And I mean, it is around the correct way. You can see on the platter, I mean, it's spinning freely on the... I'm completely lost here, because, like you said, do you reckon I should plug it back in without the record and see what happens? Yeah, I reckon. Shall I give it a go? Plug it back in, obviously. I mean, you know. The trouble is, are you tempting fate? I mean, obviously. I mean, I didn't do nothing wrong with the previous one, so would that be because of, like you said, you know, because of the way this is? Obviously, with the way I don't know. I was just I mean, it's like you said. I'll give it a go. I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound, isn't it? I mean, that's. What can you do? Would it go bang the second time? It might take something else out. That's what I'm worried. But we know. It's entertainment. Let's plug it back in. That's weird. He didn't definitely took those fuses out. At the end of the day. Plug that back in. I ain't switched it on yet. At the end of the day. I've left the record out. That was definitely struggling. 100%. So, let me make sure that is all lined up underneath there. I've not pulled any on any of the wires. Let's just double check. Make sure that it's not sitting. No. Okay. Fuse in. Let me get rid of that bloody. There's some more of that bloody bitumen in here, and I keep putting my hand in it. Let me go and grab that, guys, before I switch this on, because I'm still pulling it all off, and it's going everywhere. There's a big dollop of it down underneath here, and I can see it. Let me go and grab a tissue, get some IPA, just wipe that off. The dog's gone in the bedroom. That's hilarious. Oh. Fucking, that's where that belt had all melted. Look, it's still like, it's gone everywhere, and everything you touch just smears, and it goes all up the bloody plastics, goes all in your clothes. I hate that stuff. That's them belts where they're disintegrated. It's all fucking smeared up at the bottom. I cleared all this lot off once. For some reason, it all seems like it's come back. Weird. Right, she switched off. I'm going to switch her on. Switch this on. It's on. I can see the arm going back. The green light's gone out. Right. Again, plays. Obviously I ain't got no tape in it. So it must be the stop. Tape. Right, now I'm on the record. It obviously won't. But the trouble is, I'm quick. I can actually shut this off quick. But it shouldn't struggle. Let me grab that record. Do you reckon I should put a smaller record in? Let's try. Yeah, try it. Let me grab a smaller record. Let's see if that makes a difference. that's mental, isn't it? You heard a bang from that. It did pop because it was struggling. But yeah, do you reckon also laying this down probably don't help? These like to be stood up, don't they? Oh, no, it's doing that noise again. It was doing that noise again before it went. It was making that buzzing noise. I didn't even touch that. Switch it on. Seems fine. It was making that buzzing noise before it went bang. Let me see if I can stand this bugger up. She's a beast and a half. Right. Let me... It's going across. The record is spinning. It's detecting. It's going down. It's not the greatest though, guys. The light's on. I need to put this, what I need to do, I need to prop this up at this angle. It could be because it was laying down, I don't know. Let me stop it. How do I stop? Q, reverse, fast forward, repeat. Yeah, so I've pressed the same one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to prop this up here, right? It was making that humming noise before it went bang, right? And that definitely popped. You heard that go. But that could have been, like you said, it could have been a solenoid, but it did go with a bang, and I heard that for myself. It was only when I heard that hum, and I went in the end of it, oh, that don't sound too great. So, it's still switched on at the moment. I haven't touched nothing, because look, the set still works, right? So, let me grab... I wonder if it could be because the motor on this, it needs, I don't know how these work, see, with these type of systems, they like to be stood up. You can't always lay them down. They're not designed to be laid down. Perhaps that was putting too much tension on the motor, put strain, obviously stopped it. I don't know, I'm only second guessing. But we should still have sound. So, could that still be down to that track? That could be causing the issue. I've got to be careful because it's not wide. It's not that's plugged in now. Right. So we've got cassette, but we've still got no sound. Have we got radio? Got nothing from the radio. Nothing from the radio. Still got no output. Right, let me try the record, and we'll press the play one. It's spinning round, I can see the platter going in, but it's not the greatest of speeds. It's playing. I can hear it, guys, but it's really faint. I mean, I'm not joking, I can hear it. Listen. That's all the way, max. So it is playing a record, and like I said, the light's staying on. You can actually see the lights physically staying on. So we got the green light at the side there, so that the record's staying on. So it, whatever it is, right, it didn't like it laying down for some reason. So it did the amplifier chip pop. Oh, yeah, is that the, or like you said, but I've got nothing coming from the radio. The radio was working before, but I need to put some wires into the radio. I can hear the sound. Let me plug it into the other port, see if it's got the left and the right. That's a little bit louder. A little bit louder. Not the greatest, but I can hear something. I've got it, so, but again, I've got nothing from the tape. So let me pause that a minute. Oh fuck, that made me. I'll tell you what, that gets the old ticker going, doesn't it? Oh Jesus, me chicken tikka nearly went in for a minute. I thought, what? There's so not a gunfire. Quick, we're under fire. Right, okay. Let's try the LP. Fucking hell, God, that's hilarious. Fucking made me jump 6 foot in the air, that did. I tell you what, that'll put another 10 years on your life. Right, it is spinning. And it's playing alright. So this don't like being laid down. I can hear the Madness record on there. So it is playing. But again, audio related. But if I laid that down, that motor was juddering, and I thought, oh, that didn't sound great. Don't know. So now, obviously, now we've got the record sorted with that on that front, but. And it's playing, I can hear that. It's playing Madness. Try it. So definitely, I'll tell you what, when it went, I thought, Jesus, what the heck was that? Because I had the volume all the way up. But we must get in some volume to it, because like you said, but obviously I've got nothing coming out. It's really, really low. That's what it was doing. Take that record out. That was hilarious. That made me jump on that front. That was the funniest thing ever. Right, I think it might be worth checking that power amplifier. Do you reckon on that front? But again, if that's the case, I mean, how the heck do you check a power amplifier? I mean, you know, obviously you can hear something. I mean, if I turn this down and go back to tape, that bloody banging. You can hear, look, the reasons why I say it's power amplifier is partly working, look, you can hear hissing. You're getting something from it, but obviously, but the tapes, obviously I've got no output, just got distortion. So yeah, you could be right. Well, the slider's working because you can hear it. But again, radio. Let me try and find a bit of wire to put in from the back of it. Which one's the FM? Let me see if I can find the FM. FM's right at the end, the middle. So it's going to be this one. So it says plug in the. Let's grab a bit of wire. Have I got a bit of wire here? I've got plenty of other bits and pieces. I'm sure I can bung a bit of wire in, just so I can get a test on the. Actually, I won't have to. Got some little prongs. Might be able to just prong it in the back, so I'll just get a connection. Sensor from the antenna. Just put the back of your line where just put it back and you'll hear the slider. Yeah. You can actually hear it. So now I'll move it all the way up. Look. And it is playing. But even when you stop it, it's still making that same noise. I don't quite get it. The presets. Nothing. Getting nothing from the radio, which it was before. Now tune the radio without changing any of the settings. Yeah, good point. Actually, radio. Let's just make sure I've got the correct front on that radio front. So when I put the front on there, so it just tells me roughly which one it is. So FM, which is that. So I've got count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and FM should be that one. That should be FM, the one it's on at the moment. So you can hear it. I've got nothing, and I've got that thing plugged in the back of it. Oh, just plug that, move that away before that falls over. And goes bang, or rip the bloody wire out. Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all. Have I got anything? Nah, nothing. It's strange. That's obviously the cassette. What if them pots need a bit of, you know? I'm just easing it in and out to see if it. Push it all the way in. I mean, the volume's halfway up. Nothing, literally nothing on the radio. Radio's got no output at all. I still think it's a power related issue. Obviously it's not getting or it's sort of or it could be like you said, it's now an amplifier issue, because obviously if I laid that down, that was making that humming before it went bang. Yeah, tuner, yeah. So that's what makes me think. So I thought, you know, because it's a guessing game. But I think the main thing is now, before that wasn't working, that is now working. So what I need to do is, what I'll do, I'll put it back together, right, send it to the old boy tomorrow, now the belt's in, right, give him a record, and I'll tell him, don't lay it down, because these machines don't like being laid down, and I'll give him notice. But yeah, hopefully I'll go over it. But yeah, the fucking dog's run. the dog run for its life. I really thought, what the hell was that? Which is, obviously, it's a shame, because like you said, I don't quite understand why all of a sudden, like you said, but you heard it go bang, but it didn't take no fuses out. I mean, I heard the and then it went bang. So I think what I'll do, I'll give him a couple of records tomorrow, right, when I drop this off. But at least I know the transformer's all right. That's one good aspect. But comparing, I've got no issues. I mean, remember, it's trying to reverse engineer and understand how these work at the end of it. And these are not the easiest to work on, because again, it's all about the understanding. And that's the trouble. If you don't understand these things, they're going to make... This is what's going to happen. You're trying to work things out and you think, I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, and that's the trouble. So, I think what I need to do... But I don't know if that stereo amplifier has gone 40. But it was getting... Before that, it was working. But it's like everything was working. All it needed was belt. So I thought, well, don't go too mad taking this apart, because I know how temperamental these machines are. It's always a way, because you're trying to find out what's physically wrong with it, and you think, oh, that's a simple enough, easy to do. At the end of the day, I think I think that pop was the amplifier. Do you reckon? Yeah, because if it was, wasn't it? That could have. Yeah, it might have been. Might have just gone pop on that front. Because that's a big audio sort of like chip on there, isn't it? Like, to power that up. So I suppose that probably didn't do it much justice. But that definitely was a bang. That wasn't. Where's that screw? Oh God. I'll pick this up here, is it? It is. Let me pull this up a minute, guys. I've got to try. Where's that fucking screwdriver for a minute? These have got like a weird security screw for some reason. See this thread? Look, there's a thread here. Right here, and I forgot what one I used to actually undo it. So I'll flip it back over. But the belt is on. The main thing is, I'm just hoping that power amplifier hasn't. I'll let the old. What I'll do, I'll just let him have a browse. I mean, obviously we've got somewhere, but these don't like being laid down. Definitely, but it was playing at the correct speed. But that is, I think any visual damage to the amplifier is right. Yeah, I think that pop was the amp. But is there any visual damage to the amplifier? I couldn't see anything on that front. So, which is weird, because like you said, the radio, even with that not playing plugged in, it makes me think it's still another component gone inside it. Oh God, this is not going to be an easy fix, is it? But that was definitely an Andy moment. He definitely, and he didn't have his, he has his moments where it just killed the stream. It was just bang. I mean, the dog ran for its life thinking, what, Jesus, what the heck was that? At the end of it, I think them, you know that big one in there, these are, I can't even bloody do this thing up because this, it looks like a wing and a nut underneath that. And that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, frustrating. No, that's not tightening it up. We've got no visual. Well, how the bloody hell did I manage to undo that then? I mean, I must have undone them at some point, but now I can't seem to do it that back up at all. Guide that in. Oh, you know why I can't do it in, guys? Yes, that would help, wouldn't it? You know what I've done? Thinking about it. So I didn't lose the screws, I put the screws in temporary back in. Which, if I remember correctly, I think I did do that. So I didn't lose them. And they was actually in the record player. So that way I didn't lose the screws. Yes, they're up here. So, how did I get to them? I think they might have actually, I might have done them inside the record. Let me take this off. Yeah, it did. So it looks like I'm going to have to take all this back off. It was underneath there. That's why they're not screwing in. I thought, Jesus, what's going on? Let me unplug it. I'm gonna have to, that's what I've just done. I thought, no, something's not right. I don't want to force it. You know, I never force anything anyway. If something don't feel right, just stop. You know, because otherwise you'll break it, potentially break it. Right. I've got to take all that platter back off. And there's nothing else on that platter to hold that into place. So I've got to take all this back off, by the looks of it, because the screws are right underneath here. And how did I get to that? Did I get to it from this side? I can't remember. Where's that solenoid? No, it's on the other side. Let me spin it round. That screw. Where was that screw? Them screws are I can't remember how did I get to them, because I must have done it and then I forgot how I took this off without not taking any of that off, because that's exactly where they are. They're underneath. I didn't take none of that off to get to them. Unless they was at the top. They are at the top. Yeah, they are at the top. So this, I didn't take it out from there. I didn't think it was. So you got to screw them from the top, not from the bottom. Right, okay. I had to think for a minute. I thought, how did I screw them in? Because I didn't recall taking none of this apart. And there's two screw holes, they're inside. And you have to screw it from inside. But that platter, that don't feel as free as I thought that would be, you know. That platter, spinning it round. I mean, I know it's got some tension on it, but I was really surprised. Just wipe that bit of that. I've just found some more of that. Fucking gunky crap. Just wipe all that off. It's all round the back of the motor. Jesus. So, yeah, I wonder if that did go bang. That amplifier. Obviously, you heard a hum and it heard it go bang. I'm hoping it's not the case. I'll have to ask the old boy. I mean, he's got oscilloscopes and things like that. He'll probe it, and he's pretty good. He's old school. He's in his mid-70s, and he's still doing repairs. But where he's learnt right throughout the years. You know, he don't do TikToks with me. You know, he's just one of them old boys that are good at just doing repairs on that front. And for the sake of 20 quid, I'd say, yeah, just give it to him. Let him find out if that's the case. I mean, now I know that it's not transformer related. We have got power to this, which is a blessing in disguise. It ended up just being, it just needed that little arm, like you said. The time you're in Car4 said it the same thing. He said, like, as soon as you got that, it's a sensor relay. I wonder if it's that chip, that big power, that stereo amplifier chip that's popped at the end of it. I don't know. And there's no way of knowing. It looks fine, but something definitely did go bang. I mean, it didn't do it any justice by doing it on that front, but okay. Let me put this back on that front. And then, which way? Is it got to go? I think it's got to go this way. Because I didn't know, I thought, how the bloody hell did I manage to get them screws in? I took them out, obviously, but it's got to go in the same way I took it out. So, yeah. So what I need to do is... God, bloody, I can't even open it, can you? There was a button. Oh no, the button's underneath, isn't it? Yeah, right. There's a button, an emergency button, for it to, you can open it up. It's actually getting it in there. Is there anything else you guys can suggest? Because I'm out of questions. So I just ain't got a clue. Now he's saying that that's in. Right. Right, now that's sitting right now. Because now, looking at the button. Let me put this, swap this round, going all the way down. Right, that shouldn't fall out now, which it don't. It don't fall out. They just need tightening up. That one needs tightening up, but that one won't fall out now. So it won't flop forward, which is a blessing in disguise, because that's exactly what it was doing. Every time I tipped it up, bloody machine trying to go forward, tilt. But I've still got some screws to put back in. Again, trying to remember where half of these went is another matter. I can't believe that dog just run. It was funny. Mind you, it did make me jump. Oh, I think, oh, fuck that. I said that made someone jump. As long as I didn't get the magic smoke. Mind you, if it was a capacitor, at least then you would have known, right, then it's a cat gone. The end of it. I mean, that left the cat that went in the BBC micro. Fuck, Jesus, I heard that in the kitchen. I mean, that really was a loud bang. But, and then I see smoke pouring out. Lucky enough, it tripped out but the damage was already done. Right, well that's in, that's all in. Let me, why, oh God, I've got all these bloody wires sticking out here. Shouldn't have all these wires sticking out. This is not right with all these. Let me spin the camera around. You can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to put half these wires back in, you know, because they're all sticking out. Trying to just push them back into place. And I don't want to get any wires caught underneath. You know, screw a wire in and it ends up just saying, no, you've pinched it, or screwing, you put a screw right through the wire. Then it probably would really go bang after that. Oh, here's the other one. Here's the other clip. I was looking for that. Again, where's that other clip? Right, that looks like it. This is the one here. Let me put that up here for a minute. There was another clip to give all these wires to tidy them up. I fucking hate wires. It's like the bane of existence. You're trying to think, Jesus, seriously? Oh, pulled that one out. See? Pulled the clip out. That's what makes me think, if these clips ain't all the way in, that wasn't all the way in. That is now. I felt that clip in. That could be another issue, you know. If these clips ain't all the way in, it won't make a connection. No, that is pushed all the way in. I felt that clip in. Right, okay. Cool. Right. I don't know where them other two screws. Oh, big bumps. I don't know where them other two screws. So I took two screws out here. Where did these go? I ain't got a clue. It's the only thing in it. You don't look where these screws go. You end up thinking, no, that's not right. So anyway, that won't stop it from going back. Let's put this back on. And I don't know what the idea of them big bloody springs are. They look like for Duracell batteries. Look how dusty that is underneath there. So I see. Wait, what the hell? I ain't got no. No. Let's play it. Let's actually try that again. Right. Now it's partly all put back together. Let's plug this back in and just test it. Because now it's sitting up correctly. And have a look to see. Let me see if we got FM. Have we got FM? No, cleaning up the case. Nothing from that. Oh, it would help. Switched it on, wouldn't it? What a crank. Nothing, still nothing on that. Okay. Let's grab the tape. No, nothing on the tape. On, off. Normal with that. Metal on. What we got? Mic mixing. Balance. Left and right, that's in the centre. Cut off bass, treble. We've got FM presets at the bottom. Again, nothing. Right, okay. Let's take the tape, mate. Still nothing. Let's have a look to see with the record. Can't bloody see if that record's spinning around. Right. No, the record's not spinning round again for some reason. I don't know. It's definitely related on that front, but that record don't seem to want to spin for some reason. Presets, nothing. For some reason now the record don't even want to spin round. That's which is weird. We've got nothing. Speed 45 and 33. Now we've got nothing on it. That's mental. That is completely and utterly. That's completely and utterly weird on that front. Oh, we are spinning round again now. Miraculously wants to spin round. It's weird. This fucking thing's got more. You know, it's got some right gremlins in it. So yeah, you can hear it, it's faint. You can partly hear it. I thought it might be some of these buttons. Loudness on and off. That ain't making no difference. Nothing. Let's play side B. Playing B. Now it's reversing. Nothing. But we have got the tracking on there. But the record's turning on that sort of side, because you can actually see it. You can actually hear it, because again the record is spinning, and we've got side B. Also, should I try the headphones? I didn't give that a try. Actually, see if, yeah, that's a good point. Let me plug that in. That seems to be working alright, but I can partly hear it, and the speakers are fine. Let me just grab a pair of headphones and just quietly try. Have I got? I've got these ones. Let's see if I've got a phone jack. Step it up. I should have a fucking load of them. Yep, you have. Nice load of metal ones in here. Let's plug the headphones in, see if we've got. Great. The only headphones I end up picking up end up having a 2.5, not a 3.5. Fucking chances of that. But yeah, it is weird. If you crank it all the way up, you can just about hear it, which is weird. Let me go and grab another pair of headphones. You'll have to wait a minute, folks. I'm trying to look for a pair for the next minute. You want to go out for a week? This, oh, we are. They're up here. Okay, where's my bloody headphones? I know I had them. Put them up there next to my VR set. Let's have a look. That fits. Now, one's headphones, one's microphone. No. 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 We've got left and right though. I can feel the left and right going. No. The record, you can just about hear it, but for some reason, what about FM? Anything on the FM? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing on the FM. Again, the tape's got that distortion. Nothing. But when you power it, when you turn the volume all the way down, you've got exactly the same on the radio, on the speakers. Can't hear nothing. There's nothing coming out of that. No, this is obviously obviously the issue that this has got is obviously got something related when it comes to the sound. Right, but is there a mute switch? That's what I thought, but you can hear it. It is vaguely sort of coming through, but I don't think there is, because I'll lay this down. So when I looked in here, I thought there might be a mute switch in amongst this lot. Lucky enough, there ain't. There's no, no, you got a loudness. It's all to do with tape and presets. Mic mixing, left balance, that goes left and right. Cut out boost, cut boost bass, cut boost treble. It's not, it's really plain simple. It's got to be related then, that obviously it's got that APSS, that's the automatic search thing for the next track, and then it's supposed to cut off. But there's nothing on the back, except for more of that bloody bitumen that I keep getting on my hands. It's on the front of that. But, no. Let's take the thing out. Now I'm going to have to, main thing is, at least we did get somewhere, because before I got nothing. Obviously, thanks to one of you guys, it's, you know, if it's Car 4 or you, Pico, that suggested that, you know, suggested that you try that rewinding it round, and obviously that did. But, like you said, it's definitely, that bang was definitely a bang related. Now these got arrows where the screws go, and I do these by hand because them plastics go so brittle. I do not want to do that by a machine, you know, because I know what'll happen. I'll strip it and crack it, and then it won't stay together. I'll let the old boy have a quick look. Mind you, what's that? It's got beat cancel, A and B. Don't know what that is. There ain't nothing else, is there? I mean, obviously you've got the antenna, you've got an auxiliary, but again, strange layout the way this is. You know, they've got more screws on here than anything else I've ever known. You know, related, but. Best to put them back. I don't know where them other two screws, I took them off. I ain't got a clue where they go. Again, I'll have to look back at the video, because you did see me I did take this apart. That's one good aspect. If you ever record it live, you can always go back and watch it and you think, well, where the bloody hell did I take that out? Now if I didn't, I will do if, I mean, even if you had the schematics on this, but again, I've just opened, ain't nothing major related, because I know what happens with like most of all of these type of components. They don't like now that one's on there. That one's got a screw in it for some reason. And what about these? Did these have screws? No, these already must have been screwed down at that point, because it's normally only the ones that's got the arrows that you need to put it in. Let me flip this around. Jesus, this is one heavy machine. Really, yeah, it's got some serious weight to it. Serious weight. I mean, that's no exaggeration. One of them screws could be. I know where they go. They go at the bottom. How many we got? 2? Yeah, I know where they go. I took them out from the bottom. I've just seen where they are. Oh, that's handy. Okay, now I can put them back. Didn't think I took them from inside. Look at all that. I've wiped all that, and they're still pulling it all off. Right, I've got one left. Where does that go? Screw in there. We've done the ones with that. That one's done. I've got one left in my hand. Make sure. No. No, that's done. No, that's fine. That's fine. That must be it. No, one in the corner. Missed the top one. Bloody hell, what's the chances of that? Then the ones underneath. Cool. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that it's got to that. But that obviously that was he obviously didn't like it being sort of taken out. Yeah, these are from the bottom. Oh, that's all right. At least I know where these go. I'm going to snap a quick picture at the bottom of these, and then I know where these go. Cool. You just snap a quick picture, guys, at the bottom. I've got a bloody wire attached to it. Cool. Good to take pictures. Oh, that's why my phone's got fucking covered in pictures, because I have to take pictures of everything just in case, you know. It's good reference to go back. Because trying to remember where all these screws come from is an absolute. Gee, it's one heck of an headache. Oh my god. Right, now that ain't popping out. It's all sitting nicely. Let's just double check at the front. Yeah. Let me turn this all the way down to the left. Oh. I'm going to have to put this on airplane mode. Airplane mode. Come on, airplane mode. We're on airplane mode, good. Because otherwise I'll get bombarded as a customer. They can ring back later. Right, that side, that front. Cut base. Pull that all the way down. Does that go all the way down? Yeah, lovely. I'll put it in airplane mode. Let me just say this. Neil, can I ring you back? I'm in a stream. Ta. Coming back on that front. That front, and that one goes on there. That's fine. These are all set correctly because that's what I had to pull. Do you know what makes me laugh? You put a phone on airplane mode, it's supposed to, right, stop all incoming calls. Well, that's obviously not the case. What's the fucking point having an airplane mode if it don't do its job? Actually, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Best thing, power off. Then, 100%, I ain't going to get interrupted. Otherwise, I'll get distracted. And that's it. Right. First thing, switcher on. Pull this back. I just want to see if, at the end of it, if this obviously now phono, door open, the green light stays on, good. Just the motor spin round. The record spins round, lovely, and it's playing. It's like it's on automatic. So, same thing again. You plug the speaker. Let me plug the speaker in. It is. You can hear it. You can hear it. Seems a little bit louder. That's so the slider is doing its job, and it's not crackling. So that contact cleaner cleaned it well. Which is weird. I'm going to go and check what NK's doing. No worries, buddy. Thanks for joining. So, yeah, I'm thinking that this... Let's try the other side just quickly. Just plug it in. I don't think it's going to... I think the other side is even lower. No. I've got a slight hump on that side as well. But... Again, 5. Let me just take that record out. But at least it wasn't, because it wasn't doing that before. At least now that is partially working. But obviously that don't help this situation because, again, no audio coming out from the tape. I like all the soft speed tapes in it. Now, isn't it funny, isn't it? Now, because I've put all that back together, I've got literally nothing. Before that was crackling, wasn't it? Before I put all the casing back. On the tape, I was getting like rewind it all the way back. Let's put it on FM, see if we've got anything. Nothing. Nothing at all. Not even from medium wave. That should shut off by itself. It does, see? That's all the auto shut off features. God, that crackling, that can go over bang. But we got no... We literally got nothing coming out of the tape. No. So it just feels like it's definitely now sound related more than anything else. Which before, I mean, we did get sound. Obviously, I couldn't test the cassette because the belts had gone. But now I've obviously got nothing coming through. And it ain't none of the radios, it ain't none of the presets or anything like that. I could try the preset, actually. Mono. On let's go on to number 5. Try the preset that way. Nothing. Nah, makes no difference. AFK, no, nothing on the beat cut, loudness or metal or the nothing. Yeah, I think that's going to be. On that the way this is. It's you know now I've put it all back. Anyway, let's take the tape out. I think what I have to do, guys, is at least I put it back together. Don't know what that bang was now when it did go pop, but it did struggle a bit at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm thinking. I think that's ready for him to inspect and have a quick look. But at least now the record player. Oh God, something. Why does it do that? And then the record player turns back off again. That's weird. Let's turn it down, turn it back on. The record player comes on and goes back off again. That's weird. Let's just try that little record. Put the little record one back in. It's absolutely mad. Yeah, it must be a sensor, because as soon as it detects there's no record in there, because it comes on and you can actually see it's playing the record. And I can hear the record being played. That's weird. So yeah, that's really screwy Louis for me. Right, Q. And it is going backwards and forwards, and it plays A and B. Oh, the record just drops out now. Jesus. See, that was a good record, wasn't it? Now the record's got jammed, is it? No. Why is that not opening all fully? Oh yeah. Because there's a setting on here. It's got, and I've got it on the auto. Auto. I've got it set on. So I don't know. I'm more baffled by it more than anything else. But I don't know. The main thing is you know, the way this situation is with this record player. I mean, it seems to have a mind of its own for some reason, but at least it is put all back. The main thing is, I mean, I don't know what them springs are for. I think they might take the tension up when it gets banged around. It was what's named on it, but I think that's what it does. Because I can physically see underneath the. I look underneath here. I can see the springs. They look like they take their tension up. So I think that's what they are. They're like tensioners that potentially spring it into place. Look, it's still fucking black coming off this. It's all white down here as well. Jesus, I can't seem to get rid of that gear. I don't know where it keeps coming from. It's like that black, where that belt's disintegrated. It must have smeared and gone everywhere, literally, at the end of it. But yeah, it's a shame that can't really get that. I mean, I did manage to, at least now, that sort of work, because that did stay on before, and now that is partially working. Now we've just got no audio coming out of it on that front. But I'll take it to him and see what he reckons. He might be able to find that related problem, but obviously, once the sound's sorted out, this should be fully working, and then I can have this, because I want to put this in the kitchen. So when I'm doing the washing and everything else, tidying up, I can listen to my records, and you know, I've only got to have one speaker connected. I ain't got to have both, but it's just nice just to listen to it on that front. And but yeah, I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, I mean, that's the reasons why I've put, bloody hell, it's got arcade Lego up there. That's not right, is it? I mean, at the end of the day, let me take that off. That's not. that was the arcade Lego build, and obviously I've just fell in what that said. There you go, took it off, put a brake one up, but yeah, I think that's going to do for the stream today, lads. So I'm probably going to jump onto MK, give this a clean, and then give him a call tomorrow, drop this in, and see what he says. He should be alright, because he's pretty good at with that front, and drop 20 quid in there and see what he says on that front. But thanks for joining on that front, and I'll catch you guys again shortly. See you soon.